During the 19th century and the early 20th century, an era of fascination with the unknown and the extraordinary, circuses and freak shows flourished as one of the main forms of popular entertainment. With promises to showcase the wonders and mysteries of nature, these spectacles displayed individuals with unusual physical characteristics, often labeled as freaks, whether men or women, who in many cases were exploited for their unique appearance and rare medical conditions. And that is exactly what we are going to see here today. Prince Randan, also known as the Snake Man or the Caterpillar Man, was a standout figure in the world of curiosity circuses during the 19th and early 20th centuries. His birth name was probably Matthew Bola, and he was born in 1871 in British Guyana, now Guyana. He had a condition called tetramelia, which meant he was born without arms and legs. Randan became famous for his incredible skills and his charisma while performing in circuses, where he became a popular attraction. Despite his disability, he was astonishingly self-sufficient. He performed tricks that required great dexterity, such as lighting a cigarette on his own, using only his lips and teeth. He was also skilled at sewing and painting with his mouth, which impressed audiences. His nickname Snake Man or Caterpillar Man referenced both his physical appearance and the way he moved. He propelled himself by using his torso muscles, sliding across the ground in a way that resembled a snake's movements.
We can do it too. Well, catch a rack tomorrow night. We got something new.
You can do anything with it.
Randan had a career spanning more than 40 years in these shows, and his image became iconic after his appearance in the famous film Freaks from 1932, directed by Todd Browning, where he had a brief yet memorable cameo. He died on December 19th of 1934, shortly after one of his performances, due to natural causes. Myrtle Corbin, known as the Four-Legged Girl, was one of the most famous circus attractions at the end of the 19th century. She was born in 1868 in Lincoln County, Tennessee in the United States with an extremely rare condition called dipagus. This meant she had two separate pelvises, each with a pair of legs, totaling 4 legs. Although she had 4 legs, the two inner legs were smaller and less functional, while her outer legs were completely normal. Myrtle could move the smaller legs, but they were not strong enough for walking, so she used the outer legs for locomotion. At 13 years old, she began her career as a circus attraction, traveling with various shows. Her unique appearance attracted public curiosity, and she was promoted as an example of the astonishing variety in creation. Myrtle quickly became one of the stars of these shows, being very popular among spectators. Despite her unusual physical condition, Myrtle led a relatively normal life. She married in 1886 to a doctor named James Clinton Bicknell, and together they had 5 children. Her ability to become pregnant surprised many, since her body had a duplicated reproductive structure. It is recorded that some of her children were born from one side of her anatomy and others from the other side. Myrtle continued her circus career for many years until her health issues and a shift in public perception regarding human curiosities reduced interest in these types of shows. She died on May 6th of 1928 at 59 years old, also of natural causes. Fanny Mills, also known as the Ohio Bigfoot Girl, was a famous circus attraction at the end of the 19th century. Born in 1859 in Lake County, Ohio, in the United States, she became notable because of a rare medical condition called elephantiasis, which caused her feet to be exceptionally large and swollen. Her feet measured about 43 centimeters in length and 18 centimeters in width, earning her the nickname Bigfoot. Fanny suffered from congenital elephantiasis, leading to abnormal growth of the tissues in her feet and legs. Although her condition was debilitating, she managed to walk with the help of canes and special shoes made to support the size of her feet. Back then, there was no effective treatment for her condition, but that did not stop Fanny from finding fame in the circuit of human curiosity shows. She started performing in traveling circuses and shows in the late 1870s and continued for several decades. During her appearances, promoters often used sensational stories to draw crowds. They would advertise, for example, that Fanny Mills was seeking a husband and that her father was offering large rewards, including land and a considerable sum of money to any man who would marry her. Despite the exaggerated marketing, Fanny eventually married William Brown, a man who worked as her caretaker. The couple lived a quiet life away from the spotlight, although her fame as the Ohio Bigfoot Girl continued to lead her back to the shows for many years. Fanny Mills died in 1899, around 40 years old, due to health complications stemming from her condition. Stefan Bobrowski, better known as the Lion Man, was a famous circus attraction in the early 20th century, thanks to his rare condition called hypertrichosis, a rare disease that leads to excessive hair growth all over the body. He was born in 1891 in a small town in Poland, and his extraordinary appearance, characterized by a face and body covered in long, thick hair, turned him into a legendary figure on the curiosity show circuit. According to the widely circulated and probably sensationalized story, Bobrowski's mother believed his condition was the result of a curse brought on by a traumatic event. Supposedly, she witnessed a violent lion attack while she was pregnant with Stefan, and she claimed that it influenced her son's physical development. This narrative was used to pique public interest, although scientifically his condition was a form of congenital hypertrichosis. From a very young age, Bobrowski was taken to perform in circuses and curiosity shows across Europe, and eventually in the United States. He became a major attraction. His body was covered with hair reaching about 20 centimeters in length in some places, including his face, giving him a lion-like appearance, which justified his nickname Lionel the Lion Man. Despite his unusual looks, Stefan was known for his calm, gentle, and polite demeanor. He spoke several languages and was described as intelligent and good-humored, defying the public's expectations, as people often assumed he would be fierce or literally animal-like because of his nickname. Stefan Bobrowski traveled the world exhibiting his condition, and his personal charm, together with his singular appearance, made him one of the most popular attractions of the era. Later in life, he retired to Germany, where he spent his final years. He died in 1932 at 41 years old from a heart attack. Chang and Eng Bunker, known as the Siamese Twins, were the most famous conjoined twins in history and were the origin of the term Siamese to describe conjoined twins. They were born in 1811 in Thailand and achieved worldwide fame as circus performers. The brothers were Siphopagus twins, connected at the sternum, yet apart from that connection, they had completely independent organs and bodily functions. Chang and Eng were born to Chinese parents, and their condition caught the attention of a British merchant named Robert Hunter, who brought them to the West in 1829. The twins toured the United States and Europe as part of circuses and curiosity shows where they were presented as a wonder of nature. They performed displays showcasing their physical connection, demonstrated athletic abilities, and shared their life stories, which fascinated audiences. Early in their careers, they were under the control of promoters who profited financially from their appearances. However, after some years, Chang and Eng took charge of their own performances, ensuring financial independence and more control over their lives. In 1839, after years of touring and performing, the brothers settled in Wilkesboro, North Carolina, where they became naturalized American citizens. They bought a farm and began a new life as slave owners and successful farmers, which was quite unusual for conjoined twins at the time. In 1843, Chang and Eng married two local sisters, Adelaide Yates, who married Chang, and Sarah Yates, who married Eng. Together, Chang and Eng had 21 children. Chang had 10 children with Adelaide, and Eng had 11 with Sarah. Even though they had partially withdrawn from public performances after settling down, the American Civil War and financial difficulties led the brothers to return to shows later in life. Chang and Eng faced health problems in their final years. Chang developed alcoholism, which harmed his health, and he suffered a stroke in 1870, further limiting his mobility. On January 17th of 1874, Chang fell gravely ill and died in his sleep. Eng, who remained attached to him, panicked and passed away roughly 3 hours later, likely from circulatory shock and emotional trauma at the loss of his brother. Felix Werle, known as the Elastic Man or Rubber-Skinned Man, was a famous figure in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, thanks to his astonishing ability to stretch the skin on his body. Werle had a rare condition known as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a genetic disorder affecting connective tissue that causes unusual skin elasticity and can also affect joints and blood vessels. The main feature that made Felix Werle famous was his capacity to stretch large areas of his skin, such as pulling the skin of his neck, face, and arms to an impressive length. During his circus and curiosity show performances, he would demonstrate his skills by stretching the skin of his stomach or pulling his neck skin over his chin and even over his head. This shocked and fascinated audiences of the time, who had never witnessed anything similar. Like many other human curiosities of that era, Felix performed in fairs and circuses, including the famous P.T. Barnum Spectacles, a leading showman in freak show entertainment. Audiences marveled at the flexibility of his skin, which seemed to defy the laws of nature. Little is known about Felix Werle's personal life, since, like many in the realm of curiosity attractions, he was largely remembered for his performances and for his unique condition. He was among the many individuals with rare medical conditions who capitalized on their unusual traits to make a living in circuses and freak shows, popular at the turn of the 19th into the 20th century. Robert Huddleston, known as the Pony Man, stood out in the late 19th century due to a rare condition called Proteus syndrome. This genetic condition led to severe bone and tissue deformities, giving him an unusual appearance that resembled an animal's physique, specifically that of a pony, hence his nickname in the freak shows, those events displaying human oddities. Robert Huddleston was born with multiple deformities, including disproportionate growth in his legs and feet, which gave him a peculiar look and affected his mobility. He had a relatively normal upper body, but his legs and feet grew in a distorted and significantly larger way. These combined characteristics led promoters to market him as the Pony Man during exhibitions, since his body proportions vaguely evoked those of an equine, especially in how he walked and how his legs appeared. Huddleston began performing in circuses and freak shows, in which individuals with unusual physical traits or rare conditions were displayed to the public. Huddleston was often billed as a natural curiosity and a medical wonder on show posters. Circus promoters exploited his condition to draw crowds, commonly creating sensational narratives to heighten the audience's curiosity. Even though the performances exploited Huddleston's physical condition, he managed to earn a living at a time when opportunities for people with disabilities were extremely limited. Little specific information is available about Robert Huddleston's later life. As with many performers in human curiosity shows, he left few detailed historical records. However, it is presumed that the deformities caused by Proteus syndrome probably led to a decline in his health over time. This condition can bring serious complications, including infections, orthopedic problems, mobility challenges, and chronic pain, all of which would have affected his quality of life in his final years. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.